I have to say, the river's looking nice colour wise, as you can see. Some nice looking features. Yeah, always nice to be out, always nice. Fingers crossed. Well, I've put some liquidised bread into the spot, but I am actually going to start on a nice juicy lobworm as the river's running reasonably clear. See what comes along. Pleasure to be able to bring another video to you guys. Always nice to be filming and uploading and getting, you know, your head in the right kind of order. Yeah, it's a beautiful setting. You've got lots of features. I mean, on the opposite bank you've got lovely cover, you've got a nice big slack where you'd expect some big fish to be holding up, especially your river carp, larger chub, pike and barbel. And they're those kind of areas when you've got your water level down a bit, they're the areas you want to take notice of, so that when the river's up you'll know that those areas straight away, that area that I saw that was a nice bend or a kind of little bit of a back eddy, you'll notice yourself, that's a good slack, I can go there and I can fish that. Even though the river's up, that'll be a fishable swim, and fish will hold in those areas, especially when it's in flood. But yeah, it's funny, I mean, all the years that I've fished, I've never lost my enjoyment or appetite, excitement for fishing. It really does keep you in tip-top condition up here, and it really does nourish the actual soul and the body with the sunlight, that free vitamin D, nature's theatre, and do your best for the chance of a decent fish or two. Anyway, enough whittling, waffling, waffling. Let's watch the rod tip. Well, the witching hour is fast drawing towards us. Hopeful, as the light fades a bit more, that we get our chance. And if not, we will be up in sticks and moving swims during the evening. But yeah, it's a very pleasant evening now. The wind's just dropped. I've got kites harassing a buzzard at the moment, right near me. Well, it seems like they're harassing it. They're certainly circling it. But yeah, fingers crossed that we pick up a decent chub. Water temperature's not bad at all. It's decent. It's around about 49 degrees, which is not bad at all. 49.9, I think, if I remember correctly. So yeah, fingers crossed. Well, we're in, guys. That is a chub in it. Not a bad one. Ah, alright, I think you'll be alright. Cheers. Thank you very much. There's a chevin. Not a huge one, but oh, it's a nice fish. Looks in very well, it's in good condition. In you go. Yes, it does indeed. In front of one of the bailiffs. Yeah. Well, there we go. A lovely chunky chevin on the lobworm. Beautiful scrap. Absolutely beautiful. Really, really, really wanted to make for that flow and to put a healthy bend in the Shimano Purist river feeder rod. Yeah, wonderful. And just as a bailiff was having a chat with me too. Beautiful condition. Beautiful build to it. Yeah, happy days. Let's see if we can maybe pick another one up or another two. Give this swim a little bit longer and maybe then mosey on, try some of the others into darkness. But yeah, happy with that. Very happy. Cracking scrap. Cracking bite. The wind's dropped down a bit. It was quite breezy on and off, and that wind's a northeast, as that old saying goes. When the wind's from the east, the fish feed least. But yeah, it's nice now. It's settled a bit. It wasn't a high wind, but it was a nagging northerly, and it's just calmed down. Water temperature's been decent though. I mean, I took the temperature reading earlier. It was over 49, which is great. More than good enough for conducive feeding for barbel, chub. What I've been doing is just topping up the swim with a few more little balls of liquidised bread and a few little upstream pouchfuls of maggot, just to try and draw the fish from downstream and out from the cover from my near margin, which paid off with that lovely looking chevin. So a nice looking chub, guys. Yeah. There you go. Happy days. Lovely. Just getting some tetchy bites on cheese paste. I just dislodge the bait and let it roll through a little bit again, and I've got another good take. Got some nice fish. Cracking. Well, there we go, guys. Lovely, chunky, brassy chevin. And I'll tell you what, this fish was playing hard to get. It was giving me some tetchy bites on the cheese paste, so I just lifted the rod and displaced the hook bait just so it moved and pulled the hook bait away from the fish. And I'll tell you what, this one didn't want to lose its dinner. And yeah, it's a good bite after that, and a good solid scrap. Actually took me under my near margin. Very, very, very welcome. And I'll tell you what, even though there's a frost on the ground, I actually feel quite warm, which is always welcome. Helps you to fish more efficiently and happily. But yeah, lovely looking chevin. Beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. Happy days. Let's pull myself back. There you go. Anyway, let's get this one slipped back. I think we'll head on to another spot. Alas, the time has come, and that is the end of another fishing trip. It's been enjoyable. In total, I fished around about 7 swims and chopped and changed. Fished that first swim that you saw me in, and that was on lobworm. I fed the area with a light amount of maggot, a little bit of liquidised bread, and that produced that chub. But the other swims, which I do feel will produce a decent fish or two, they were very, very quiet. And funny enough, the swim where I had the first chub in, I stayed in there a bit longer and than I probably should have, and I had a lovely otter swim right up. I heard something roll further downstream and I thought to myself, sounds like a bream. And I'm still not sure if that was actually a bream that rolled, but then about 20 minutes later, not a few minutes, 20 minutes later, he heard something splashing, making a bit of a commotion. I thought to myself, I'd seen a swan go by earlier, and I thought to myself, maybe it's a swan coming back. Then I heard more movement. I didn't see the swan, so I thought, aye, something's up. And just past me, it just must have gone underneath the water in my margin, passed me by. Got around about 8 to 10 foot past on my left hand side. I heard a like that, and shone my light. Sure enough, it's a head there, a big head of an otter. I mean, it's not a small one. This is a big old otter, and he looked at me, much as to say, "What are you doing on my land?" Then swam off to the opposite margin. So I quickly wound in, just to see where it was going, and I followed it upstream to where it's quite woody, and it was on the other bank, and he just kept staring at me. Of course, like a lot of the otters that have been hand reared, it's got no real fear. It's a very confident animal when it comes to human beings, due to it being hand reared. Anyway, it looked at me and then sauntered off onto the other bank and into the woods. So yeah, that was big. I mean, I saw all of it. I'm guessing around about this big. That's not a fisherman's towel. Anyway, so I probably stayed in that first swim too long after the otter had gone through. Then I moved and fished a few other swims. Do excuse me, guys, because obviously once it's dark and I've fished that first swim, you've got to see some nice scenery, see where I'm fishing. But when it comes to fishing the other swims in the darkness, I can't put a light on until I necessarily get a fish on the hook. Then I don't mind putting a light on and playing the fish and landing it. But I'm not going to put it on in the dark or be able to show you the other spots, because obviously I don't want to spook and destroy and wreck my chances. But yeah, so I went and fished those other spots further downstream. I had a couple of light taps in one of them, and the other couple of spots were very quiet. Then moseyed back upstream and had that very nice chub, which was actually a tetchy bite. That second chub, very tetchy. I had a few little taps, very and it stopped. Now, my first thought with that, with chub in general, is that the fish is sitting on the bait, not wishing to move, and not willing to give the game away. So what I did is I just lifted the rod and dislodged the bait, so it's pulling the bait away from the fish, and that can cause the fish to think, my God, my dinner's going, I'm not going to get my dinner, I'm not going to get my dinner, and that can just induce a more confident take, which it did. It produced a very confident bite after I'd done that, and yeah, it was a cracking scrap, really nice looking chevin, good scrap, took me out into the flow, kept me into the right hand side snag, and then went straight under my near margins. So yeah, very enjoyable. Anyway, once again, apologies for not being able to show you the other swims in the dark, but can't scare the fish. Anyway, I've got to be heading off. I'm actually running late. My mum's waiting for me, and she's not going to be happy, so I'm running about 5 to 10 minutes late, so do excuse me, I'm going to have to head off, guys. I still hope you've enjoyed the video. Anyway, wherever you're fishing, make hay whilst the sun is shining, and make sure that wherever you're dangling your end tackle, you've got a solid bend in your rod. Till next time, this has been Mark from Fishing for Memories, and I'll see you on another fishing video. Take care, guys, and stay frosty.